Hi, my name's Jason Gaylord, founder and CEO of Gaylord Claims, third-party claims management firm. I founded Gaylord Claims in 2020 to radically disrupt the personal injury marketplace by offering consumers a smarter, simpler solution that would help them maximize compensation at the time of settlement. So how do we do this? Based on my years of experience in the insurance industry, it's given me a unique perspective and viewpoint to see how the insurance marketplace has changed and, more importantly, not changed in the past 30 years. For today's example, I'm going to use the mid-1990s insurance marketplace. This was the time I was a claims adjuster at State Farm in the field office in the South Tacoma location on Hosmer Way. Now, in the mid-1990s, Allstate was the first downward pressure on the industry. They introduced Colossus, the first software program to evaluate the value of insurance claims. Now, Colossus and software like it drastically reduced the payout on claims compared to the evaluations that human beings like me and my cohorts in the office would place on claims. Now today, every insurance company from Allstate, Progressive, Geico, State Farm, all have these software programs. Now the second major change that happened in the mid-1990s was Progressive launched their website in 1995. The year after that, Warren Buffett bought Geico in 1996 and also launched a low-cost internet-based web application. Now, State Farm at the time and still to this day is the largest property casualty insurer in the marketplace. They had to react to these changes just like every insurance company in the marketplace had to. But before I go to their reaction, I'd like to talk a little bit about the history and what many of you probably remember for how claims were handled. So these represent local field offices: North Seattle, Tacoma, Federal Way, as I mentioned earlier, South Tacoma, and Olympia. There were these field offices all across Washington State and all across the country. Huge exposure and gigantic expense for State Farm and insurance companies like them. The reason for these field offices was simple. People had property damage, bodily injury, and they could drive their vehicles into these locations, get an estimate and a check for their property damage, and talk to me and other claims adjusters like me about the value of their cases. So effectively, Joe Smith would drive his vehicle into the service shop, get his estimate, drive out into the community into any other local body shop that potentially was available to fix their car. Now these represent body shops in the local marketplace. At the time, State Farm had a bright idea. Why don't we create a program called Service First? And instead of having our customers drive to these field offices, instead we'll certify local body shops as being State Farm worthy or State Farm qualified. And as a result of this program working magnificently, State Farm was able to close every one of these local field offices all across the country. It saved State Farm billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, in replacement of those, they had their staffs go to regional offices. One was in DuPont, Washington, no longer exists. Another was in Salem, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Again, these regional offices were all across the country and cost State Farm a substantial amount of money. Well, as the internet advanced and they were able to do more and more of the service online, State Farm once again realized they could shut down all of these costly regional offices. And instead, they now have locations in Atlanta, Chicago, and Phoenix to service the claims for the entire US marketplace. Now, the question I'd like everybody to ask is how much cost has State Farm saved as a result of making these changes? And if you look across the entire insurance landscape, all insurance companies have done the same. So we've seen drastic change in the insurance side. What change have we seen from the personal injury lawyers? Have they lowered their fees? Have they automated their systems to make things more easier for customers? Have they done anything to make your lives as chiropractors easier? I would suggest they have not. And as a result, they have created an incredibly wide lane of what I call competitive opportunity. This opportunity is the chance that Gaylord Claims has to disrupt the market, as I suggested earlier. In today's world, consumers can either choose to handle the claim themselves, or they can choose the personal injury lawyer. What we see here is the insurance company is going to do everything they can to cut corners. The personal injury attorney is going to do everything they can to keep their game the same. This creates an opportunity for a fresh approach, for a new way of handling claims, and we're excited to offer this opportunity to you. I'm excited to share with you next exactly how Gaylord Claims is going to help you capitalize and monopolize your marketplace. So how do we do this? We do this by recognizing that 95% of claims settle without litigation. So instead of putting a costly lawyer on the claim from the outset, we borrow the same business model that insurance companies have used successfully for decades, and we instead assign an experienced claims adjuster to the file. This saves us thousands of dollars, no different than it saves the insurance company billions of dollars. This one solution alone allows us to lower our fees from 33.33%, the third that traditional lawyers charge, to 25% flat rate fee. This alone will put more money in our clients' pockets and make happier injured parties at the time of settlement. In addition, we have a new way to market collaboratively that will put more clients in your practice, more money in your pocket, and more success in your future. To learn how we can do these three critical things, come to our next presentation that's scheduled in your neighborhood soon.